All right, so I'm going to meet you back there on my mat. Everyone, or a lot of people last time said that they wanted to do something not in a chair, but I will give a lot of options for whether you want to be in a chair. I'm just going to have mine off to the side here or on your yoga mat, and I have mine covered here because it's my cat's favorite place to have a hairball. I don't understand what the deal is, but she never hairballs in my husband's house or room. I also have a heater going over here that makes random noises every now and then. So you might hear that, and I am teaching from my home. And so you may end up hearing kids playing outside or garbage trucks or something like that. So please just know that that's part of our experience today. Part of our yoga practice is just to notice these things as they come up and not attach any kind of story to it or anything, but just to let it go and to anchor your attention on yourself. So this is your time for you. So be here with yourself and get to know yourself and get to explore your body and explore your breath. And so, like I said, you can be sitting in a chair for this first part, or you can be sitting on the floor like I am. I always like to sit on a blanket or a yoga block or something to give myself a little bit of space. If you don't have blankets or yoga blocks, bring in stuff that might be great improvisations for that. So a pillow from your couch, an Amazon box that's still nice and firm, anything like that. Just get creative with what you have around you. And begin to invite yourself to notice your breath. Settle in. Just bring your awareness for right now, right to the tip of your nose. And notice the inflow and the outflow of your breath. Just notice that really subtle sensation, bringing all of your senses, all of your awareness to that very gentle flow of breath. And it might help you to close your eyes or soften your gaze so that you can really focus on that sensation. Just 2 more breaths, noticing where you are and what you're feeling. And then bring your awareness down to your heart center and then to your belly. And just notice where you feel the expansion in your body as you inhale. And notice what softens as you exhale. And if you're breathing high up in the chest region, that might be an indication from your nervous system that you're bringing a little stress to the mat with you today. So you can tell your nervous system, now's a really good time to relax and stop releasing stress hormones by bringing that breath a little deeper into your belly. So maybe bring one or both hands to your belly and invite the breath to come deeper. This two-way communication between you and your nervous system is your breath. And you can partner with your nervous system. And the next time you inhale, you might just mentally count to yourself how many beats it takes to draw that breath in. Maybe it's 2, 3, 7, somewhere in between, doesn't matter. But what I'd like to invite you to do is to match the length of your exhale to the length of your inhale. So if you're inhaling for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4. Always knowing you can release your hand whenever you like. And as you continue to breathe your balanced breath, I just want to remind everyone to keep yourself safe, to listen to your own healthy boundaries, your body's inner wisdom about what it needs and what it doesn't need. I'm just going to admit someone new to our practice, so continue with your balanced breath. So always know to keep yourself safe, and if I guide you into something that doesn't feel comfortable for you, just don't do it. Do something else, or lay down flat on your mat and come back to this balanced breath. Just being connected to your experience in your body, your experience in your breath, you're doing yoga. So let's go ahead and come to a nice tall seat. If you've been sitting cross-legged for a while, it might feel good to you to change the cross of your legs. Again, you can be in a chair or on a physio ball for this if you like. We're just going to draw ourselves up towards the sky. Imagine you could actually get a little taller, increasing the space in between your vertebrae. And then notice this support that is underneath you, where your body is touching that support. Your legs, your feet, your sit bones. Getting grounded here. Feel that sensation of feeling grounded and uplifted all at the same time. And then with your balanced breath, let's use our next inhale and reach the arms out towards the walls to either side of us. And lift the hands up to a nice strong V. And then we'll turn the palms down, and with that same breath, float the arms down with your exhale. So we're going to inhale, lift the palms up towards the sky, reach up, and maybe you only come up to shoulder height, maybe only to the waist, just as far as your body says today. And then with your exhale, turn the palms down, let the hands float down. We're going to keep moving this way, but this time let's rotate the wrists in one direction as we raise up towards the sky. And then reverse directions as we float back down. Just getting some healthy movement here in the wrists and the shoulders. Maybe you flutter the fingers a little bit to get some movement in the fingers. And then we'll inhale together once more up towards the sky. And stay for the exhale. Take an inhale here and draw your shoulders up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, draw them down and away. Anchor your shoulder blades down your back, almost as if you could tuck them in your back pockets. And then we're going to make our arms strong like these. Again, remember, anytime you want to take a break, take a break. We're going to rotate those pinkies inward towards each other, and notice how that creates a little more space in between your shoulder blades. This is our victorious pose. This is one of my very favorite poses. I always like to think of a gymnast landing her routine, just bam, ta-da. This is our victorious pose, and this is kind of what we want to have as a sensation in the shoulders. Whenever I say that, bring the shoulder blades down the back, that's what I'm talking about. And then we'll take one more inhale here, and then exhale slowly, slowly, with control. Float your arms all the way back down. And then maybe just shake your arms out a little bit. You might roll your shoulders back, maybe together, roll them up and back and down, and just shake out the arms. Come back to your balanced breath if you've lost connection with it, and just notice how you feel. Notice what sensations you feel in your shoulders, in your chest, in your back, or anywhere else for that matter. Maybe you're a little bit warmer than you were at the beginning of our practice. Maybe your heart's beating a little more. Maybe you don't notice any real difference at all. That's okay too. And then we're going to come to sit crisscross applesauce with the ankles crossed. We'll bring both hands to the knees. And we'll inhale a nice tall spine right here. And then exhale, just hinge forward at your hips a little bit. Just saying hello to that low back. Draw the heart forward and tuck your chin in a little bit. Look down at the floor in front of you so that you're not damaging the back of your neck, or you're being kind towards the back of your neck. And then we're going to bring the left hand over to the right knee and put the right hand on top of the left hand. And then just look over towards your right. Just a tiny little gentle twist to start off with here. Roll your right shoulder up and back and down. And maybe press gently with your right hand onto your left hand to give yourself a little leverage to feel into that low back a little bit more. Take 2 of your balanced breaths wherever you are. And then we'll take one more inhale. With your exhale, unwind, come back to center and press yourself back up to a tall spine. We'll do a little seated cat and cow here. So with your next inhale, draw those shoulders back and down, look up towards the sky, any amount. And with your next exhale, we'll bring the belly button towards the spine and the chin to the chest to find your cat back. Inhale, cow pose, kind of arching the back and looking upward, opening up across the collarbones. Exhale, round the spine, maybe even rocking back onto that tailbone. Inhale, open up, look up. Exhale, round back into your cat. Draw that belly button in, open up that space between the shoulder blades. And then we'll inhale back up to that nice tall spine. Switch the cross of your legs. Find a big inhale here and exhale, hinge forward any amount, just until you feel that first sensation in your low back. Say hello, back body. Draw the heart forward, tuck your chin. And if that twist feels nice to you, take that right hand on top of the left thigh, just above the knee, not putting any pressure on the knee. And then the left hand on top of the right, and just look towards your left. This could be enough of a twist right here, or you could roll that left shoulder up and back and down, drawing it downward, even as you draw the crown of your head away. And maybe you use a little leverage, pressing that left hand into the right hand to deepen the twist. Inhale here and find length in your spine. Tuck that chin. Exhale and see where you can soften. Soften your face. Soften your forehead and your jaw. 2 breaths right here. Find one last inhale here. And then we'll exhale, unwind, come back to center. Let's inhale, find your cow heart, lift your gaze towards the sky. And as you exhale, we're gonna circle back through the right side body all the way back to your cat, and then inhale up through the left and back to cow. So we're just making little spirals here with the spine, and maybe you keep nice and uplifted and subtle in your movements, or maybe you get your shoulders and your neck involved. Next time you come around to your cow heart in the front, reverse your circles. We'll even everything out. Couple more times in this direction until you feel even and balanced. And then use your next inhale to draw yourself all the way back up to your tall spine. And then we'll come over into tabletop. So some things to consider: you might want to have a small pillow or a blanket underneath your knees if your floor is hard. And if you're practicing from a chair, you could get a second chair or a couch or an ottoman or a small table and come to tabletop. And I'm not going to bring the small table over here, but you can probably imagine you can have your hands on the small table right out in front of you. So just be kind to yourself, improvise. Let me push that out of the way. And we'll all come down to hands and knees. And let's just kind of wiggle the tail from side to side a little bit, kind of like a really slow dog that's happy to see you, but they're not super excited. Just a nice slow wagging of the tail. And maybe as you wag your tail over towards the right, you look back across your right shoulder, kind of making a little arch there in the side body. And then you could look back over your left shoulder as your left hip comes towards the shoulder. Just kind of get long through both sides of the body. And then we'll come back to center and find that same tall spine that you had as we were seated. And if you have wrist issues here, you could come down to your forearms, or you could come to your fists, or if you have yoga blocks, you can use yoga blocks here. So find that nice tall spine, tuck your chin so your neck's a nice extension of that spine, and imagine here that you've got a teacup sitting on your back and you don't want to spill the tea. Let's take an inhale here, and with that same flat back, send your right toes back, tucked under, sit lengthening through that right leg. And maybe just kind of go back and forth a little bit, saying hello to your right calf. Maybe you want to press back and get a bigger stretch in that right calf as you press the heel back and draw the crown of the head, the base of the skull away, getting super long from your top of your head down to your heel. You can stay right here, or you might want to lift that right leg up off the earth, coming to horizontal with the floor. Keep that hip turned down and maybe look back at your toes. And if they're out towards the right, you might want to dial your toes down towards the earth so that they're pointing downward. Keeping strong through your back body. One more inhale here. And then we'll make some circles, 3 in each direction. Bend that knee and make some circles in the hip here. When you found your first 3, reverse the circles and find the second 3. And then we'll inhale, find length once more in that right leg. And then as you exhale, we're just going to step it right through, coming to between the hands. Finding a nice low lunge here, and I'm grabbing my blocks to bring the earth a little closer to me. And maybe this is enough for you right here. Can't get my jacket off, excuse me. Or you might tuck those back toes under and kind of send your knee back a little bit, and then bring the tops of the feet back to the floor. and find your lunge here. Just make sure that right knee doesn't go beyond the right ankle or the right toes especially. And again, we want the hips square to the earth here. So you might invite your right hip forward and your left hip back. Find your tall, strong spine here with your tucked chin. Let's take an inhale together here, and as you exhale, we'll just straighten the front leg any amount and send the hips back towards the back heel. Inhale forward, find your lunge. Exhale back, half splits. One more time, let's inhale forward, find your lunge. Exhale back, half splits. We're gonna stay here. You might walk your hands back a little bit. And then we'll inhale, send the toes up towards the sky. Exhale, press the sole of the foot down towards the earth. So this time now we're just moving through the ankle as we lift and press. And then you decide what feels better to you. Is it better to keep your sole down or your toes up? Find the posture that works best for you. We're gonna stay here for 3 full breaths. Send the hips back towards the heel. Find length in your spine. Draw the heart forward as you inhale. Exhale, any amount closer to your front knee. As you breathe into your low belly, notice how the back body expands. You might be able to feel that expansion across your hips. Massaging your back from the inside out with the power of your breath. And then we'll inhale, come forward once again, find your lunge, plant your hands, step that right foot back. Let's inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Just like in our seat, we'll inhale forward into cow. Draw the heart forward, drop the belly. Exhale, cat. Inhale back to your strong table, nice long spine, nice level back, and then we'll send those left toes out and beyond, curling them under, keeping them grounded for now, and maybe just finding a little dynamic movement here, warming up the calf a little bit. And maybe you want to pick that foot up and bring it parallel to the earth. Dial those toes downward. Find your breath to support you. And notice where your weight is distributed across your hands and your standing leg. See if you can balance things out a little bit so that everybody is carrying their full load. One more inhale here. And then we'll bend that left knee and we'll make some circles in the hip in one direction and then the other. And then we'll inhale, find length, press the left heel back. Exhale, draw the knee up towards the heart and step it through between the hands. Find your low lunge, Anjaneyasana in the Sanskrit. You might want to stay right here with the right knee relatively under the right hip, or you could curl the back toes under and kind of wiggle them back a skosh, and then set that knee back down to come deeper into your lunge. Take a moment here to settle in, find your tall spine. Keep your chin tucked and your heart lifted. Let the hips sink down. We're releasing all the tension in the front of the hip flexors when we do this, and that is where we hold stress. We're always ready to run or fight or whatever as our nervous system comes into that stress response. Let's inhale here and exhale. Let's send the hips back towards the heels, release some of the stress in the low back. Inhale forward to your lunge. Exhale, hips come back towards the back heel. One more time. Inhale forward. Exhale back. You might walk your hands back a bit. And then we'll toggle the ankle up and down, taking the toes up towards the sky and then pressing the sole down. And create your own adventure. It's your leg. You play with it. You decide what it wants to do today. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Just settling in, letting the back of the knee soften, letting the hamstring and the calf soften, but then directing the breath to the low belly, encouraging it to come out into the hips and the low back. And then we'll inhale forward once again to your lunge. Exhale, step back to your tabletop. Let's find a few more rounds of cat-cow here. Realigning the hips, realigning the spine and the neck. Moving with your balanced breath. Let the whole movement take the whole length of the breath. And then we'll tuck the back toes under, send the hips back towards the heels. And we're going to make little tents of our hands. So pop the palms off the mat and come onto your fingertips and draw your heart down towards the earth. Maybe your hips touch your heels, maybe they don't, maybe your forehead comes to the floor, maybe it doesn't. Neither of mine do. But we're going to draw that heart downward and kind of open up across the armpits, drawing those shoulder blades towards one another, down towards the back pockets. And then maybe you bring your palms down to the earth and untuck your toes and send the hips back a little bit farther. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then we'll take the knees out wide. It's about as wide as the mat. Bring those big toes together. And we're just gonna keep that left arm, well, I'll start with this side so you can see. We'll keep the right arm extended and we're gonna thread the needle. For those who are familiar with yoga, that means we're gonna slide that left arm underneath the right arm and come down to that left shoulder, the left temple, and just let the weight of the body kind of open up the back of that left shoulder blade. Now, if you're on a chair or if your shoulder doesn't comfortably come down, you can put folded up pillows, blankets, towels, whatever you have available to bring that earth up a little bit closer to you. Once you get wherever you're going, take a couple of breaths. And again, invite that breath down deep into the low belly. You might want to give a little wiggle from side to side to let the flesh of the body hang free between the legs. And just let yourself sink onto that left shoulder. And then we'll inhale, unwind, reach both arms out to center, and then exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left arm. And just let go, surrender the weight of your body here, and let it kind of just open up behind that right shoulder. You can leave your left arm extended, or you can rest it down, whatever feels good. Couple of breaths here. And then we'll inhale, unwind, come back to center. Press the Heart down towards the earth, open up across the armpits again, tuck the chin deeply, and then we'll walk the hands up towards the knees, bring the legs back to parallel, and we'll sit here in hero's pose on the heels. Take a breath here. If this is tough on the heels, you can curl the toes under. We won't be here long though. One more breath. And then we'll all go ahead any way you want to get there. We're just going to come right on down to our backs. Any way you want to get there. You can do crunches on your way down, or you can just bring yourself right on down to the floor. And once you get there, we're going to just hug those knees in towards the heart, maybe rock a little gently from side to side. In Sanskrit, this pose is called Apanasana, and it means wind relieving pose. So if a little gas releases from one end or the other, that is what this pose is for. So let yourself do what your body needs to do. One of the beauties of practicing at home and not out in a studio is you don't have to hold anything in. And then you might rotate your ankles a little bit from one direction and then the other. And then we're gonna cup our hands across those kneecaps and just make some circles on the ceiling here, keeping the knees hugging in towards one another and just massage around the sacrum. And then we'll reverse directions again, always finding balance in our practice. Balance between effort and ease. And then give yourself one more little hug. Maybe you invite your nose up towards your knees. Again, realigning everything down your center. And if there was anything that you wanted to do that we didn't do today, go ahead and do those final postures now. And then when you're ready, stretch out nice and long into your Shavasana pose, corpse pose. Traditionally, it's legs out wide on the mat, lengthwise. Hands outside the body, palms turned up towards the sky. Again, tuck that chin so that your chin isn't jutting upward, and maybe hug your shoulder blades in towards one another. And invite yourself to rest. At home in your body. Bring your awareness down to your toes. And just invite them to relax and soften. And then move your awareness up to the bottoms of your feet, the tops of your feet, your ankles. Invite them to be soft and heavy. Then move your awareness up to your calves, your shins, your knees. Invite them to relax, to soften, to release. Your thighs. Let them be heavy here, grounded, noticing the sensation of the support underneath you. And then into your hips. Allow the hips to soften and relax. Then bring your attention to your back body and where it's supported underneath you. Just feel yourself grounded here. And then bring your awareness to your belly and let it be soft. Just release any tension. And then your fingers, your palms, the backs of your hands, Relax them and then upward into your wrists and your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms. Soften your shoulders and imagine your collarbones just sliding away from one another. And then bring your awareness to the top of your head, the crown of your head. And then down to your forehead, soften and release and smooth the skin of your face. Let your eyes be heavy in their sockets. And release any tension in your jaw. Maybe even let your lips part and the tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Draw that relaxation, that release down through your neck and your throat, all the way down to your heart. At the very center of it all, anchoring you here. Just a few more breaths here in your Shavasana. Unwinding everything, letting all the pathways and passageways of your body open up and soften and release. And as you're ready, just begin to wiggle your toes a little bit. Maybe spread them out wide and curl them in. And then wiggle your fingers and spread them out wide and curl them in towards the palm, just getting some healthy movement in the joints here. And then we'll rotate wrists and ankles a couple times in each direction. And then send your arms out long overhead. Take a big, good morning stretch, wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe you want to point your toes. Maybe it feels better to flex the heels. And then bend one knee and then the other. Keep those arms outstretched, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees a little bit from side to side. And when they get over to your favorite side, roll onto that side and let your head rest on your bottom arm. Draw your knees up towards your heart, and maybe you can reach down with your top arm and just take a hold of that top leg here. Just going from corpse pose, Shavasana, stillness, to this fetal position, the place of infinite possibilities. And as you're ready, maybe keep your eyes closed as you press up to your tall seat. I always like to end in Dandasana, staff pose with the legs extended. If you're sitting in a chair, your feet are planted underneath your knees. And you might take your fingertips out to either side to support your tall spine. Let's inhale together once more. Bring those arms up and overhead. Bring the palms together. And as you exhale, draw your hands right on down towards your heart. If you like, you can bow your chin towards your chest. In yoga, we say namaste to close our practice, which means the light within me honors and respects the light within each of you. But I always like to think of that light as the love. The love within me honors, sees, and respects the love within each of you. Namaste.